Yep. All right. It's officially 1 o'clock. Thanks for coming out, everybody. My name's Alicia Godfrey. I'm with Keller Williams Excel Realty out of their Westerville office. A little bit about myself and my experience. I am in my 8th year of selling real estate. Prior to that, I was in corporate America and decided to make the transition and do what I love. I am one of the top performing solo agents at my office and just recently started building my team. So you may hear me refer to my group as the Godfrey Group. There are a mighty 2 of us because I just got my transaction coordinator licensed. So she's on board now and working with a lot of my buyers. I'm in the top 20% of Keller Williams agents in the Ohio Valley region, which is Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. And my small but mighty little team of Stacy and I served 48 families last year. Nearly half of those were what we would consider to be a move up. So people who are selling their home and then turning around and buying a home simultaneously. So that's kind of where the inspiration for this class came from. I wanted to help educate sellers on, not only how do you get top dollar for your house, but how can you do that and secure a place to move to for your family? Because it is, moving is one of the most stressful things that a family can undergo or an individual can undergo. And we want to take the stress out of that and the questioning out of that and really shed some light on how to accomplish both. Netting top dollar for the sale of your home in this amazing market, and then also turning around and getting yourself an amazing home to move to. So with that, I will turn it over to Eric so he can introduce himself.
Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, again, like Alicia said, my name is Eric French. I'm a branch manager with Guild Mortgage. We are one of the largest mortgage companies and institutions in America. We are licensed in 49 states, just minus New York. And our office here in Columbus has helped about 500 families over the past 12 months achieve the goal of homeownership. We partner with great realtors like Alicia to help our clients not only get into a new house, but also we want to be financial consultants and act as advisors to structure mortgage options that best fit our clients' needs, both at closing and over the life of the loan. So really excited to share some insight on this crazy market. As everyone has probably seen or heard, it's a little bit different than it has been in years past. And there's some new problems and new solutions as well that we've been bringing to the market that we think work quite well. So really excited to share today. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, excited to share this with Eric. Eric's one of my top lenders, so that's why I asked him to help out with this class today. So before we start talking about how you can net the absolute most money for your home when you go to sell it, we thought we should probably address what is going on in the Central Ohio market right now. You may or may not know that Columbus has been in the top 5 hottest real estate markets in the country for the last several years. So we bounce back and forth between 1 and 5. The reason being we have a great jobs market and we still have relatively affordable housing. Although for those of us living around here, we probably think, where is this affordable housing? So but we do compared to the rest of the nation. If you were to look at the Columbus MLS today, the multiple listing service where we realtors put all of our listings into, what you would see is that currently in all of Delaware and Franklin County, I'm just going to focus on those 2 primarily because they're 2 of our big ones. In those 2 counties, we only have 699 total homes, that's condos or single family homes for sale. And if we break that down to be between $200,000 and $500,000 homes, which is where a lot of home buyers are shopping, is in that price range, we only have 315 options for all of our hungry buyers that have come to the market. But just to put that into perspective, because I know those numbers don't mean a whole lot to people who don't eat, sleep, and breathe real estate. 5 years ago, we had about 5,400 homes available for sale at any given time. So to look and see 699, you can see that disparity. I also have people go, oh my gosh, the housing bubble is going to burst like it did 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we had 15,500 homes for sale at any given time. So you can see that we would have to have a gigantic swing in order for this to switch from a seller's market to a buyer's market. So the good news is for you, if you've got a house to sell, you are in an amazing time to be able to sell your house. We have lured buyers to the market with these insanely low interest rates over the last couple of years. Millennial buyers are making up about 50% of our market. We also have baby boomers trying to downsize into their forever homes. So a ton of people out there looking for properties. And on average right now, people are staying in their homes for about 8 years. So prior to COVID, we'd kind of be able to clock it and time it, before COVID-19. COVID-19 hit, and what we saw was a lot more sellers who want to move because they've had some sort of dissatisfaction with their home, not having the space for them to work from home, school from home, have separate spaces to spread out. Maybe it doesn't have the outdoor entertaining space they want, because we all crave that regardless of COVID or no COVID. This time of year, we all want to be outside because we've made it through another winter here in Central Ohio. But COVID definitely hit our inventory levels extremely hard. We had already had low housing inventory for the last 3 or 4 years. COVID hit and it actually cut them in half. So today, if no more people decided to sell their houses, we would run out of houses in about 3 weeks here in Central Ohio. They would be gone and sold, and we would be out of houses. So in order for it to be a more buyer-friendly market, we need 5 to 6 months worth of inventory. And you can see we've got about 3 weeks worth of inventory. So, the demand is up. If you have a home to sell, it's an amazing time to do so. This class is titled How to Net the Most, how to net more than your neighbor. So yes, your house will sell, but we're going to talk about later on, how do we get it to sell for the absolute top dollar? Before we get there though, we want to address what's happening and why we're seeing that hesitation from the seller's point of view. And we're really seeing 2 issues. We're seeing that the cause of this supply issue on the housing front is that sellers are concerned that they're going to sell their house so fast that they won't have time to find the next house that they want to move to, and that they're going to end up bouncing between relatives' homes or renting a short-term apartment or whatever that might look like that's inconvenient, especially if you're trying to move with multiple people. The other thing we're seeing is that because people don't want to sell their house yet, and they don't want to face that homeless scenario, they're going out and they're looking for houses and they're putting in offers, but they're putting in offers saying, I want to buy your house, but I have a home sale contingency, which means I have to sell my current house before I can afford to buy your house. Those offers are being shot down right and left, unfortunately, because we have so many buyers out there that are not home sale contingent buyers. So the people who want to sell their homes right now just can't, because they're afraid that they're not going to have that next home to move to. So that's why I brought Eric along with me. Eric has some awesome solutions. Then I have some solutions for you. And then we can talk about, okay, this checklist of things that we're going to do to make sure you get top dollar. So Eric, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, thank you again. Again, like you just hit the nail on the head, the biggest problem our seller clients are running into is that they feel like they have nowhere to go before they sell their house, and they want to ultimately have a home purchase lined up and be in contract or have closed on that purchase transaction, so they can have the peace of mind and the security knowing that they have a place to go, they have a house to live in, and then ultimately they can sell their house afterwards. So from a financial perspective, it gave us lenders a real interesting conundrum, but also it helped us restructure some of the ways that some of the programs and products that we have available to us to help bridge this gap. The first and the most important solution that we can do as lenders is help our buyers purchase a new home without selling their home before the closing of their buy-side transaction. There's really 4 main ways I'm going to share that we can structure this from a lending perspective. And ultimately, Alicia will cover this a little bit more at the end, but the goal and the reason that this is a solution is because it's going to, like Alicia said, before, if you're a seller and you're putting in offers on a property, you're home sale contingent. But now, if you're able to purchase that home without selling your home, you'll be non-home sale contingent, which makes your offer the most competitive possible and gives you the most amount of competitive edge against the other buyers that are putting in offers on this house. It's going to allow you to close the fastest, be the most competitive. It's going to allow you to move into your new home, move out of your current home, have your current home professionally listed, staged, and sold for top dollar, and give you the most amount of negotiation power both on the buy and also the sell down the road. So how do we do this? How do we, as a lender, how do we help you purchase a new home without selling your current home? There's four main options I'm going to cover today. The first one is called bridge loans. Here at Guild, we have an in-house bridge loan. And what a bridge loan is a loan that gives you access to your current equity that you have on your home sale to use as a down payment now before having sold that home, so that you can have your down payment funds ready to go and you can be non-contingent on your home purchase. Again, going back to what I said before, this allows you to take those funds from that bridge loan, which is the equity that you have on your house, use that as a down payment on your new home loan and your new home purchase, and that will ultimately allow you to purchase non-contingent. It will allow you to move into your new home, and it will give you up to 6 months to get your current home sold, move out into your new home, get it listed, staged, and get it on the market and ultimately sold without, while you already have a place to go and while you're already in your new house. So the bridge loan is a really, really competitive option. Not a lot of lenders after COVID have this option in-house. I've only seen a few here in town. We are one of the lenders that do have bridge loan options, so I'll cover that a little bit more at the end. The second option to purchase a home before you close on a sale or before your home is sold is to use what's called recasting or reamortization to your advantage. Now, what do I mean by this, and what does that mortgage term even mean? When you buy a house, let's say you put a low down payment on a home loan of, say, 5% down on a conventional loan. You can then sell your house after you've moved into your new home, and you can take the funds that you get back from your home sale and reapply those back to the mortgage. Now, this is not refinancing. We're not changing the terms of your loan. Simply put, you're paying down the new loan that we've done for you aggressively, which allows you to lower your mortgage payments over the remaining term of the loan. So it's going to bring down your mortgage payments as if you used those funds on your at your closing as down payment funds from the very beginning. It's also going to allow us to remove any mortgage insurance that may have been applicable for putting down less than 20% on the new home loan as well. So you can think of a fee to do this as 1 month worth of mortgage insurance, which could be anywhere from $20 to $50. So it has a very low cost way, it is a very low cost way of, again, purchasing with low money down and then taking your home net proceeds and reapplying those on the very first payment. Now, the last thing I'll say about this option is, and one thing to point out is, if I close on my new home loan today, I won't have a payment on my new home loan this month, the month that we're closing, or the immediate month after our closing. I've actually got today's April 8th, so if I close in April, I won't have a mortgage payment due on my new home loan in April or May. My first payment will be from June. And just like all mortgages, you have from the 1st to the 15th to make that payment every single month. So if I know that I'm going into contract and I'm closing on my home loan in April with my low down payment, I now have till June to move into my new house, move out of my old house, list it, and get it sold. And to point out the numbers that Alicia shared earlier, goes without saying, but it's going to be a lot easier to sell than it is to buy. So this is one way of buying, making your offer the most competitive possible, and then having a few months of not having a mortgage payment, or not having to make 2 mortgage payments, I should say, to get your home sold and then reapply those funds, the equity that you have on your current home, to reapply that back to the mortgage, pay down the mortgage balance, lower the payments over the remaining term as if you used them as down payment funds in the very beginning. So we've covered a little bit about bridge loans. We've talked a little bit about a low down payment option and leveraging recasting or reamortizing the loan, which is simply just paying down the loan balance and lowering your payments. The third way, and you may say, to that second option, you may say, well, Eric, I don't have that down payment funds of 5% ready to go without selling my home first. Again, that's when we would look at a bridge loan, but also I do want to cover the third option, and that is having your down payment on your new home purchase come from a retirement account like a 401k. It's very often I talk to borrowers that have 401ks through their current employers, and their immediate reaction is, well, no, I don't want to touch my 401k account because those are my retirement funds. And to that I say, I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to touch those. But you can leverage your 401k or retirement account to use for a down payment funds, and you have drastically different options and very competitive terms. It's sort of like making your own bridge loan with your 401k. So to touch on this option, if you have a 401k, with all 401ks, the reason it's a 401k is because it's a uniform type of account. It gives you access to a loan against a 401k. The way these work, you are eligible when you have a 401k to get a loan of up to 50% of the balance of the 401k account. So if you had $40,000 in your 401k account, you'd be eligible to get a loan of $20,000. The loan does not take any money from your 401k account. Your $40,000 in this case would stay fully invested in the market and growing with the market. That loan with your 401k typically has very low or no origination costs, typically has an interest rate that is actually you paying yourself back interest into the account, so it's really net effectively no interest rate. And lastly, you don't have to claim it as a tax, income tax, or there's no tax implications for this whatsoever. If you're using this for a home purchase, you're eligible to get a 15-year term on your 401k funds that you're using for the home purchase. And the payments on the loan get paid back pre-tax. Just like you put money in the 401k before taxes come out, you pay the loan back pre-tax. So your net effective tax payments, or your net effective payments on the loan, are extremely low, especially if you're just using a little bit of the funds to go towards a small down payment like we talked about earlier. This is the third option I typically show borrowers, and it's sort of like getting your own bridge loan or using your own funds for purchasing a home now, and all the while, once you sell your home, you're going to pay that loan off immediately with the net proceeds of your home sale. It's a really, really competitive option to use those funds now to purchase non-contingent and to really, again, be able to make the most competitive offer on the buy side while you're going to access those funds from your home sale, the easier side of the equation, later on. The last option I see that's typically used for purchasing a home before you sell your current home is accessing down payment funds through a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan. This is similar to the bridge loan, but it is going to have a little bit higher closing costs and a little bit higher interest rates typically across the board. A lot of times these are adjustable rate mortgages where you only have to make the interest only payment every single month. So it can be a very affordable option, but it is going to have the highest closing costs or the highest net effective cost of all the options that we've covered. This is going to be an option just like all the other options we've covered. It allows you to get those down payment funds from your equity on your current home, and it's going to allow you to put those down on your new home purchase the home, and then once your home sells, those would be paid off at the sale of your current home. Any remaining equity would go right into your bank account, just like normal. You can use that to pay down the new mortgage that we've done for you, or put it into savings. So those are the four main ways that I typically see from a financial perspective that we're able to structure a home purchase without the sale of your current home first. I'll kick it back over to Alicia to kind of explain again why that's important, and also go over a little bit more about maximizing the sale and some of your other questions as well.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. So we in the real estate world are working super hard because obviously 669 houses is not enough. There's 8,500 realtors in Central Ohio, just so you know. So there's not enough houses for each realtor to even take one client to those homes. So what we are doing to kind of kick people's searches into overdrive and allow them that sense of security of finding their next home first is getting creative. So I have 7 buyers right now. They're preparing their homes for sale based on the feedback that I've given them. but we are already in contract on new home construction. So it's been a good method for some of my buyers to seek out either an inventory home, so something that's already been started by the builder, and it'll have a shorter lead time. Maybe it'll be ready in 4 or 5 months instead of 8 to 10 months, which is what most builders are quoting right now. Just so you guys know, is somewhere between 8 and 12 months to build a new house from scratch. We are working with some people to build homes from scratch as well. We're also using some grassroots methods. If I have a buyer, for example, that I know specifically wants to live in Clintonville, right now I have multiple buyers that want to live in Clintonville. So for me, I have been working with my title company to run searches of, hey, who's lived in their house for 5, 6, 7 years or more and has 3 bedrooms and 2 baths and a 2-car garage and might be thinking about selling their house. And so we are getting out there and getting letters out to people and door knocking people we think may be interested in selling their homes. You all, if you have a home to sell, you might be getting letters in the mail already from people saying, I'll buy your house. like somebody's driven past it and just think it's beautiful, I'll buy your house. I will tell you it is in your best interest to list your home with a realtor. While that one person might buy your house, if we put it on the market, we're going to be able to drive a competitive multiple offer situation for you in most cases that will probably blow that one offer that you'll get from a drive-by or a neighbor asking you to buy it out of the water. I'll be honest. The other things that we are doing with our clients is just making sure that we're staying on top of searches and getting them out there to see homes. So we're making sure we're taking care of our clients, but with everything that Eric said, you can obviously make a more calm, sane approach to buying a home if you know that you can buy something before you have to sell something. There's much less frenzy, okay, involved in that whole decision-making process of selling your home if you know you have a secure place to go to. But let's say Eric works all of his magic and you still don't quite qualify to for the bridge loan or the low down payment option or the 401k or the HELOC. Maybe something's not sitting right with you and you still really need to sell your home before you can purchase the next one. I have plenty of those. And so what we're doing is we're negotiating when we go to list your house. We're actually writing right into the contract that you selling your house is contingent on you being able to find suitable housing. What that means is, yes, buyer, I love your offer and I want to sell my house to you, but I'm not selling you my house until I am securely in contract on the house that I want to purchase next. I have an awesome family in Westerville. We just listed their house in February. We negotiated this for them. Then at the end, we were even able to negotiate an extended possession time frame for them post-closing. So the home they went into contract on is one of those inventory homes, so it's going to be ready in about 3 months. And the people buying their home said, you know what, stay in the house after you sell it to us for 2 months, because they had lost 8 times before and they didn't want to lose my seller's house. So there are a lot of amazing things that we can do to make sure you're not having to move twice. And we're seasoned and professional and we do it all the time. So we know the legal ins and outs of what's okay and what's not, and what's gonna, send up a red flag for a lender if they see these crazy extended possessions on these contracts after closing. So lots of good alternatives out there, and that's why I wanted Eric to come and talk, because like I said, the number one reason we're seeing hesitation in sellers selling their houses right now is not that their house isn't ready or not that they don't want to move. It's that they're like, where on earth am I going to move to next? So just know that while the housing number is small, that doesn't mean there's not a house out there for you. And a licensed professional full-time realtor like myself, who does nothing all day but search and search and search to find houses for her clients, that's what we're paid to do on both sides. So not going to beat a dead horse here. We're going to move on to the next point. But there's lots of alternatives to make sure you're not in between homes. So now we're going to get, I believe, unless Eric has anything to add to that, I think we're going to get to the discussion piece about how to net the most money for your house when you do go to sell it. Are we good to move there, Eric?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when you have finally made the decision that you're ready to sit down with a real estate professional, I'm going to share with you what my team does when we go to meet with a potential seller. So we make it, we typically get a phone call or a Facebook message or a text message. Hey, I saw you on Facebook, or hey, I met you at this event. I'm thinking about selling my house. It's very non-committal. A lot of times people are at the very early on stages of thinking about selling their house, and that's fine. This is exploratory, and that's how we look at it for each of you. So we're going to educate you through the process so that you can make an informed decision for your family about, is this the right time for us to sell or is it not? And it might not be, but if it is, we'll help coach you through it. But it usually starts with that call or that message. I'll set up a time to chat with you for about 10 to 15 minutes. And in that 10 to 15 minute calls, I'm going to rapid fire shoot you a whole bunch of questions about your house. You know, what's the address? What updates have you done to it? What do you love about your house? What do you hate about your house? Because if you hate something about your house, somebody else might as well. So we have those honest conversations. I also will ask you, because when we eventually meet in person, I will ask you, you know, are you comfortable sharing with me what you still owe on your house? The reason I do that is because when we get together, I will bring you a sheet. It's called a net to seller sheet, and it literally gives 3 columns. And it says, if you sell for price A, which is like the good price, after all of the cost of selling your home, you would walk away with this much. Price B, which is your better option, all the deductions, you'll walk away with this amount. And then price C, which is your best option or that highest dollar volume possible, you'll walk away with this much money. So through our conversation, what I'm trying to do is prepare myself so that I can get some good data and bring it and present it to you when I actually get to see your house in person. Okay, so after that conversation, we're usually setting an appointment. And that appointment, I like to refer to it as the needs analysis appointment. So I'm coming, you're touring me through your house, kind of showing me what you're proud of, what you're worried about, you know, what things you think should be put away versus what things I think should be put away. And then we're sitting down and having a really candid conversation about, yes, you know, the 75 pictures of your grandkids probably shouldn't be out because we want to depersonalize your house, okay? Or your kids' playroom, oh, hot topic, I have kids at home. Your kids' playroom is a cluttered mess. Yes, we understand it's a kids' playroom, but when people come to tour the house, it should be the neatest kids' playroom. It should look like a Pinterest post. And I know that's not what people want to hear, but it's the truth. We want to make sure things are show ready. So we're having that conversation. We're also talking about things that might need fixed. And I know you're probably sitting there going, oh my gosh, there's only 600 and some houses on the market. I don't need to fix anything. It will sell. The title of this course, this seminar, is How to Net More Money Than Your Neighbor. And if you want to net the absolute highest dollar volume, you need to put out a good product, even in this market. Making sure things are functional, clean, look good, have been serviced, and maintenance has been provided to like your utilities and things like that. That makes any seller walking through your house more compelled to put in an even stronger offer in order to win the bid. So for example, I went last night to a listing appointment. And so we've got it coming soon, coming in June. But that particular house, she's got an older HVAC system. And I said, look, it's older. The people buying your house are probably first-time home buyers. It would be to your benefit to have my HVAC technician come out and just service it. So we can put a sticker on it that says, this has been serviced and cared for. So even though it's old, this guy just came out and looked at it and it's running smoothly, okay? It will help. Little things like that really make a big difference in the mind of a buyer. In this competitive market, when we're asking buyers to compete and go over asking price and cover huge appraisal gaps, they will be much more compelled to do that for your house if they feel good about what they're seeing at your house. So things to keep in mind, and we do that on an individual basis at each home. Okay. Other things we're going to discuss: if your home is vacant, my team pays for professional photography. We also pay for virtual staging. So you'd be surprised at how far Photoshop has come along, but virtual staging looks absolutely amazing these days. You can have realistic cast shadows. I can look at your, you know, I get some input into, you know, I can go out to my photographer and I can literally say, I want this to be a little girl's nursery, and I want this to be a little boy's sports themed room, and I want the master bedroom to have this, you know, huge dresser over here, little dresser over here, king size bed, 2 nightstands, like stuff we would never be able to afford if I came to you and asked you to stage your house like that for real. Okay, now, if your home is of a certain price point and we think that it would be better to be staged with actual furniture, I have two fantastic home stagers that we can also refer out, and we can get them out there to give us a quote on how much it would be to actually stage your home. They do an amazing job down to the smallest of details. I've had them stage homes that we have flipped in the past, my husband and I was amazed to walk in and see like little spectacles sitting on top of a stack of books next to a bedside chair, you know, crazy amounts of detail that go a really long way to making people walk in and say, oh my gosh, I want to live this lifestyle. And trust me, they make it look like a lifestyle we would all want to live. Okay. So they do a great job. We touched on professional photography. I will tell you that if you have thoughts of taking photos of your home with your iPhone, or hiring a realtor who doesn't hire a professional photographer, a picture is worth 1,000 words. A video is worth even more. So we actually pay for professional video as well. We've been doing a lot of 3D and virtual tours of homes because during COVID, not everyone was comfortable going out. And what we discovered was, well, you know what? People love these things. So if you haven't experienced the virtual tours online yet, you can literally click through a person's house, look up, down, and do a 360. So yes, I can see the ceiling stain in your dining room. and yes, I can see, you know, that there's a sock by your tub. So it's important that everything is tidied up for those 3D tours because there's no hiding on those. But we make sure that we are putting your best foot forward. If you live at a home that has an awesome estate feel to it. So I had a home on acreage. I've had a home that was out in the woods. We'll pay for a drone to come out and do drone footage, aerial views of the house as well. All of those things make a big difference. What you may or may not know is that Columbus has a lot of people moving here that might not ever see your house in person before they buy it. We have a lot of people transferring from out of state. I had 3 buyers last year myself in the thick of COVID who did nothing but virtually tour houses with me, which means I would FaceTime with them in a house and show them every detail I could find. And then their only other experience was with that house was the photos they were seeing online and the 3D tours if they were available, or video or drone if those were available. That was how they shopped, because they couldn't run up here every other weekend to look at homes and they couldn't see them fast enough before they were selling. So I cannot impress upon you enough how important it is to have professionally done photography, staging, and I will harp on it until I'm blue in the face, but cleanliness truly is next to godliness. You have to have a clean house. I know my house is not show ready right now, but I am not trying to sell it. So if I was trying to sell it, whew, yeah, lots of work goes into that. Once we are through that part, if you've hired us to actually list your home, we launch into what we call a 5-day listing blitz, where my team does some special tactics to make sure we're getting your home the most exposure we possibly can. So we're paying for professional print marketing to go into your home. We're paying for paid social media ads on Facebook, Instagram. LinkedIn is free, but we put it on LinkedIn too. And we have even started figuring out how to put things on TikTok, because that is where the next generation of buyers is residing, is on those Instagram and TikTok social media platforms. So whatever is next, we are looking at it and getting it out there. We are also door knocking. So we know your neighbors are going to stop by your open house anyway. So we take the approach of, why not invite them? So all of our open house invitations literally go out to 100 people that are closest to your house, and we invite them to bring a friend or family member with them that wants to live in the neighborhood. We know firsthand that with the market being as competitive as it is, that friends and family are looking out for their friends and family that are looking for a house. So we want to make sure they get the first chance to bring their friends and family members through that open house. We're also sending out an email blast to our database of buyers and previous sellers to make sure that they get an opportunity to tell their friends and family about your house that's coming to the market. And we're setting everything up in the house properly to make sure that there's a good experience for both you and your potential buyers when the home is actually being shown. We also manage all of your showings, through a third party so that it's seamless and it's a smooth transaction, and it's an easy thing to manage for both you and for my team. We are seeing upwards of 30 plus showings per day on a house. So usually what I am doing is telling my sellers, we hit this really hard in that 5-day blitz. And I tell my sellers, if I was you, take a long weekend, go relax somewhere. You have worked like crazy to get your house ready. So treat yourself to 2 days away from your house, because it will be easier than leaving and coming and leaving and coming your house every time someone wants to show it. So during that original weekend, we are making sure that we have hit it hard from all angles, because we're trying to minimize the amount of time your home is on the market. In this competitive market, the more days your home is on the market, the more buyers start to think, well, I should go in really low and give them a low offer price, or something's got to be wrong with that house if it hasn't already sold. It used to be homes would take 30, 60, 90 days to sell. In this market, if your home has not sold in 5 or 6 days, people are automatically thinking something's up, something's not quite right with that house. So it's important that we set the price expectations up front, and I'm giving you all the data during that original needs analysis meeting about, look, if you want to get top dollar, we do these things and we'll set the price at this amount. If you're okay with better, then don't do these things and we'll list it at this amount. No matter what, we're going to try to drive a multiple offer situation to your home. Once we get those offers rolling in, it gets really interesting. We have seen some very interesting offers put in on listings that we've had recently. And we're going to help you navigate those. It is not always just the purchase price you should be looking at when you get an offer. Eric can attest to this. I have quite a few buyers working with Eric, and most of our discussions revolve around appraisal gap coverage. Let's say that your house is worth $350,000, but we get 15 offers on it, and the highest one is $375,000. Well, there's an actual clause written into the Ohio purchase contract that says we're only going to pay what this house is appraised for. So unless that buyer said, I'll pay you $375,000, and if it happens to appraise low, I'm going to cover the difference, you should look at that offer as if it's $350,000. You should not look at that offer as if it's $375,000. We're looking at things like that with you. We're looking at, have they waived their right to ask for repairs? What kind of gap coverages can they give us? Home warranties. I'm calling the lenders for anyone who's submitted a pre-approval letter and asking questions about, are they strong? Could you close this quicker? What's the timeline look like? Because we want to make sure that when you do go into contract with someone, you're going into contract with the best all-around fit for you. And sometimes an extra $3,000 on the purchase price versus an extra 2 months of possession so you can find your house are the same. And you might pick the one that has the extra 2 months of possession so you have time to find that next place. So, we have to look at every single aspect of the offer. The Ohio purchase contract is 13 pages long. So we walk you through and make sure you know all of the ins and outs of it. Once you're in contract with someone, we're not done. We're still trying to net you that top dollar. So we're negotiating through inspections, any repair requests they might have asked for, to make sure we're keeping the most money possible in your pocket when you go to sell your house. And what you may not realize is that we actually have to sell your house twice. So if we make it through inspections and any repair requests, at that point, my team personally meets with the appraiser. So if you're fortunate enough to get a cash buyer, then you're not going to have to worry about the appraisal piece. But for most people, they're going to be using financing to purchase your house, and an appraiser comes in. So what we're doing is we're walking that appraiser through your home, and we are pointing out every single amazing upgrade, update, maintenance, everything you have done to make your home worthy of selling at that higher price. We want to make sure that you're netting that absolute top dollar and that we're not seeing a hiccup at appraisal stage if at all possible. So things do happen close to closing sometime. So don't worry, we don't leave you after appraisal. We are there all the way through closing to make sure it's smooth. We pride ourselves on giving you guys options. As a seller in this market, you should always feel like you're in the driver's seat. We want to provide you with a good, better, and best option. And then you get to choose, okay, how much work do I want to put into my house to get that extra couple $1,000s out of it? But hopefully, after I've kind of walked you through these things in more depth during our needs analysis meeting, you'll feel good that my team is the one that's going to be able to get you that top dollar for your house. So, at this point, I can turn it back over to Eric if he has anything to add, but I'm at a point where I need a drink of water and I'm ready to answer questions if Eric is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you covered everything really great on the sale side, and I'm definitely ready to answer any questions anybody happens to have about buyers, the buy side, anything we covered at the beginning, and obviously if you have any questions for Alicia as well, that's great.
Yep, I'd love to answer any questions about buying or selling or doing so simultaneously. Do you see anything in the chat box, Eric?
Just pulling it up right now. Back here.
Okay.
And again, feel free to message either one of us, Alicia Godfrey or Eric French on Facebook, with any of these questions as well.
I'm looking, I have some kind of message. I want to see if it's from this class or something else. Nope, it's something else. Okay.
Pull this up here.
Okay. And don't be shy, guys. These classes are so much more fun for us to put them on when we get actual questions. We do this not for ourselves. We do this because we really have a passion for educating those of you that are thinking about buying or selling a house. In this market, it's critical to be educated. So the more of this we can do, if this is a successful endeavor, or if there are other topics you would want Eric and I to hit on, we are happy to put these classes on more frequently. If you have a friend or a family member that you think would benefit from this, please send them our way or shoot them the recording of this on my Facebook page. That might be a good introductory way for them to kind of dip their toe in the water and know if this is a place where they want to go. And I'll go ahead while Eric's looking at the chat room too, and I will just say the best way to reach me is via text or call. My cell phone number is 614-579-8907. We will Facebook message a shot of each of our business cards out after this session to anybody who showed interest in the class. And if you're shy, you can shoot your questions back via that Facebook Messenger thing that we will get to you this week. So just want to be clear on that. I know I'm not, you would never know it to see me on the camera right now, but I am not a super outgoing person when it comes to asking questions in a group chat. It's not my style either, so we get it.
One potential question,
Okay.
I just had a message directly. The question to me was, how fast does it typically take to close on the buy side? And then it looks like I guess the question more directed towards you would be, what is the typical time on market and what is the typical turn time for a sale? So the buy side question is pretty easy for us. I guess we'll go buy side first. The buy side, typically we average less than 21 days on all of our mortgage loans. But what I can tell you is it does depend on whether or not you've been pre-approved and through the pre-approval process up front. That process is simply just getting us all the documentation and filling out an application ahead of time. That way we can get everything lined up ahead of time before you're in contract. And when you go into contract, it's a much faster process. We've got borrowers that have closed in as little as 8 days over the past 30 days. So what about the sales side, Alicia? What are you seeing for the typical turn time from listing to contract to close?
So for all of Central Ohio, when you look at the stats for the last 4 months or the first 4 months of this year, we're averaging out at about 21 days on market, but the majority of those are really hovering more towards the 3 to 5 day mark. The number got pulled up drastically to that 21-day mark because we have some multi-million-dollar homes that sit on the market for 2 or 3 years. But the vast majority of homes on that list are selling between 3 and 5 days.
Got it. So you're saying basically if you take out the higher end housing,
Yeah,
we're talking 3 to 5 days.
yeah, the median is 21 days, but that's only because the statistics being thrown off by the high-end homes that sit longer. If you're talking about homes, honestly, in our market, anything even under 500,000, even under 6 in many cases, is selling in less than 2 weeks. And then when you get down into the 500K and less, it's 3 to 5 days is where you're at. So that's the time it takes for us to get it up, get it marketed those first couple days, get people through the house, select a contract, and go into contract. Then from there, depending on your buyer, like Eric said, your buyer is then going to need somewhere between 18 is what I'm seeing, 18 and 30, maybe 35 days on the super high end to close on a transaction on your house. So to have the purchase side go through on your home. Hope that answered your question.
I don't see any other questions coming through, nothing in the chat so far. So,
Okay.
Perfect. I guess we'll stay on here for a couple more minutes, hang out, and answer any questions that may come up. Again, feel free to ask any questions, guys, about buying or selling. I think Alicia covered so much awesome material. I got a bunch of nuggets myself out of it, just from the sales side, what to look for. I mean, if you're thinking about selling your home, what to ask your realtor, the benefit of asking a realtor. I think let me ask this, Alicia. When you're as a realtor, what do you say to sellers that are thinking, I really want to just list the house for sale because I know I'm going to sell it. I know it's going to sell at some point. What would the first thing you say to that person be?
We have that conversation all the time because I don't always just have primary owner occupants that want to sell the house. I'll get calls from kids, for example, whose parents have passed away and they're selling off the parents' house. So they really don't have a vested interest in fixing it up and getting top dollar. They just want to settle out an estate, or, maybe you're moving jobs and you have to move to another state and you just need it gone. We have plenty of those conversations too. And if that's the case, we will gladly list your house. We will do the same amount of marketing. We will push it as hard as we possibly can. We will play to all your house's best attributes. But it's your choice. And that's the beauty of being a seller in this market. You tell us what you want to sell your house for, and we will tell you, okay, based on what I'm seeing, I think that's possible, or that might be a little bit ambitious. And if we tell you it might be a little bit ambitious, we can still list your house for the price you want. And we will just tell you up front, at least my team will tell you up front, sure, we're going to try this. We're going to list your house at 500,000, even though with the finishes in it, we think it's worth more like 475. But up front, right out of the gate, I'm telling you, if this isn't in contract in 2 weeks, we need to drop your price, because it is my professional opinion your home is worth this because of the work that's been put into it. So we're having honest conversations with people up front. I am never going to tell you that I will list your house for whatever you want without telling you what my professional opinion is about it. But at the end of the day, you run the show. It is your house and we are there to market it. We are there to push it like crazy. And by gosh, if I can get 500,000 for your house that's really only worth 475, I will. Okay. So it's that kind of crazy market where we might, while the statistics might not point to it being worth 500, the lack of supply might drive it to that naturally anyhow. So, we'll give you our professional opinion on what we're seeing works. And then from there, it's up to you to decide, do you want that good, better, or best option to list your house, or is timing the most important piece and we just need to get it listed and sold? It's up to you.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Any other questions so far?
I do like the questions.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
What was that stat that you gave me the other day, Alicia, about not working with a realtor versus working with a realtor, and how that is going to impact the price that you get as a seller? I know I don't know if you pull it out
Yeah,
there,
we're getting we are getting a lot of questions from people who are like, well, what's to stop me from just listing this house myself and doing what we call a FSBO, a for sale by owner. People are like, I'll just throw it up on a third-party website and I'll get plenty of people. I would tell you that you typically get about 87% of your list price when you're a FSBO per national statistics from 2020. You also don't typically get to entertain nearly as much foot traffic or as many multiple offers, which may or may not matter to you. Price is the big difference. A FSBO on a national average, a FSBO will sell their house for $217,900 on average. Whereas if they would have listed it with a realtor, the staggering number difference is huge. It was $295,000.
Whoa!
So people will,
huge.
yeah, $295,000. It's huge. So when people are like, oh, I don't want to pay the 6%, I don't want to pay 3% to the listing agent and 3% to the buyer's agent, that price difference more than covers bringing two professionals in. I had an interesting conversation with a real estate attorney, one of my trusted real estate attorneys, a few months ago about for sale by owner. And he actually told me that the number one cause of real estate related lawsuits are for sale by owners, because you have two parties or at least one party working through a transaction that's not accustomed to working with our documentation, not accustomed to the process, and they make mistakes. And then after closing, somebody's like, oh my gosh, you were supposed to fix that, but none of the documentation says you were supposed to fix it. So then someone else is on the hook for $20,000 worth of structural issues. So a lot of the issues that we see pop up will cost you much more than realtor fees in the long run, both in the sale of your home, as well as maybe just in peace of mind post-closing and making sure that you did all the paperwork right. So I'll go head to head with a FSBO anytime. I do work with for sale by owners. If I have buyers that want to buy one, I will call, I will talk to them, I will negotiate. But it is a process, because I do end up essentially walking the seller through how to do the paperwork to sell their house, and I don't represent them. And it's a little scary to have someone who has no representation representing themselves, knowing that I know a ton about this market and I know a ton about the process and how my buyers are actually at a great advantage in that scenario because they're working with me versus someone who's just working on their own. So there's a case to be made for sale by owner, but it won't be made by me. I guess I'll put it that way. So did I answer your question there? Yeah, I was a little baffled by the statistics. When I saw the 217.9 versus the 295, that was stunning just to see the difference. My team statistically for 2020, we got over 100% of asking price for all of our listings on average. So to see that a FSBO statistically usually comes in at 87%, wow, that's money left on the table that should not be left on the table.
Yeah, especially with the biggest financial transaction that most people ever make. 13% is huge. That's the difference between you getting out with profit and being able to put that in the bank and have money saved versus having to pay a little to get out of money. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is that down payment for that next house, or it's your kid's college fund, or it's your fund money, it's your sports car that you've been dying to buy. Like right. It could be a million different things, but it's not something I would ever do. And trust me, I mean, I've been a realtor for almost 8 years now. And prior to that, I had some poor experiences with realtors. And I thought to myself, like, oh, I could just do this myself. Now, having been in it, there is no way that I would have ever been able to do this without the experience and the coaching that I've had from my brokers and the people around me, teaching me up and helping me learn how to be the best that I can. So that's all I'm going to say about FSBO. I'm happy to talk with anyone more offline about that, but that's all I'll say for now.
Absolutely. I don't see any other questions that have popped up so far. Again, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to Alicia directly. Shoot her a message. We'll be messaging everybody who attended today, maybe a recording of the of the video along with our contact information, and feel free to reach out to either one of us for a free consultation about just what's going on and how we can help you and serve you, and how we can get you guys top dollar on the sales side. And also, Alicia will be able to hopefully find an awesome house for you guys on the buy side as well, even with the short inventory and the hard market that we're in right now.
We will definitely do it, Eric. We will find it. Okay.
That's right.
Make it happen. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We really appreciate your time and hope we can meet you in the future.